All right, this video is going to show glute bridge with a progression through to an elevated feet hip extension and options for having a dumbbell, adding weight with TheraBand, as well as your glute loop and some single leg options in there. So a lot of options. Stick with the one for your programming and kind of explains how to progress if you're finding it's too easy in your programming, you want to go to that next level. All right, so your most fundamental, your most basic option is your glute bridge down on the ground, arms for stability either off to the side, fingertips pointing up. I also like a variation with your fingers just behind the crown of your head, elbows pointing to the ceiling. With that, you just want to make sure you have your core engaged, feeling like the ribs are reaching down towards the hips. The focus is on the hip extension. So yes, we can put a glute loop around our knees if we know we tend to collapse in or are too wide, but the focus is on this hip extension aspect. So if we're loading, I want it to come across the hips, ideally. So your basic motion, you want to have your feet in a neutral kind of stance and then pressing and lifting the hips and then back down. It's not a spine roll up, it's a lift and then back down. Extend and then tap the pelvis back down. In order to weight it, maybe you grab a TheraBand. That's my favorite option to kind of weight it, and you can add different intensity. The challenge with that, it's harder to progress it with as much accuracy. So you can pin it down with your hands and then that adds some resistance as you extend the hips up. Alternative to add a weight, and you just put that across your pelvis and you're holding this, your elbows become a stability point, and then we lift, press and lift. Okay, so those are some options. Again, you can put the glute loop around your thighs, but that targets a little bit more those glute meads and not specifically the glute max and the extension that we want, but it's not wrong. Single leg options, you can do the exact same thing, and I'll just show with the band. You will lift one leg up and then have the other leg nice and close, and then we're driving, and that progresses that exercise nicely because we're just adding more load by making one side do all the work. So you can do those variations, all of them with, and I will show that actually, all of them with it. And this is the glute loop one. This one I kind of like more than the both legs down. I kind of like having that option. I find it's a nice stability point. We can take all of these and add a little bit more range by bringing your feet up onto the prop, okay? And I like my feet on the corner, so not pushing away and not right on the top, but right on the corner. And then we have our hip extension happening here. And with the band, here it is. Reaching those hip bones down, reaching the knees away. With the weight, starts to get a little bit more like we're supporting that weight. I don't love the angle, but it's an option. And then we're pressing and lifting. And then your single leg option, you would have the 1 foot and other leg just off that prop. And then we're driving up. Okay. Think of the knee reaching away as the hips come up. Think of the sit bones reaching towards the prop as your hips go down. And hip extension, great for pelvic stability, great for moving around through your day. These glute bridge options are a nice kind of finisher on those lower leg days. So love all the variations that you can do with these ones. It's great exercise.